I laughed when she first said it, but the truth is my laughter cracked like glass. Who in their right mind asks a broke waitress from Brooklyn to dress up as a man and kiss her? Yet there she was, leaning across the table at the private corner of a Manhattan bar, her perfume intoxicating, her dark eyes sharper than the skyline behind her. "You're serious?" I whispered, my voice half caught between disbelief and a trembling that I couldn't name. Her lips curved, the kind of smile people mistake for confidence but really hides an abyss. "I don't joke about things like this. The truth is, I should have walked away that night. I should have left before her money, her mystery, her loneliness became mine to carry." But there was something in the way she said it, as if the request was less about desire and more about survival. And against my better judgment I said yes. Her name was Alexandra Monroe, 28 years old. Millionaire by inheritance, CEO by sheer will. Everyone knew her as untouchable. A woman who never let anyone too close. Yet, sitting across from her that night, I realized something no headline had ever dared to print. She was unbearably human. And maybe, just maybe, unbearably lonely. "You don't understand," she murmured, brushing her fingers against her glass, not drinking. "The world expects me to want men, to want power, to want everything but what I actually need. If I ask a man to kiss me, no one blinks. But if I want a woman, suddenly I'm a scandal." My chest ached before I even realized why. Because in her words I heard myself. The girl who cut her hair short in high school and was laughed at. The girl who dated boys because it was easier than explaining. The girl who had kissed her best friend once at 15 and pretended it was a mistake. "Why me?" I asked, hating the tremor in my voice. She looked straight at me then, and I swore the whole city went silent. "Because when you look at me, you don't see money. You don't see power. You see me." So that was how it began. The first time I dressed in her brother's old suit, she laughed so hard I nearly walked out. But then she touched my arm, fingers tracing where the fabric clung to me, and the laughter melted into something dangerous. "You look good," she whispered. "Too good." I wasn't prepared for the kiss. She leaned in, tentative at first, her breath soft against my cheek. When her lips touched mine, the city outside blurred into nothingness. It wasn't a performance. It wasn't a game. It was a woman starving for something real, and another woman terrified of how much she wanted to feed her. But afterward she pulled back, eyes shuttered. "Don't read into it," she said sharply. "It's just a role you're playing for me." I nodded, but inside I was already broken. Because every nerve in my body screamed that it had been real. Days turned into weeks and the lines blurred. She'd call me at midnight just to talk, voice heavy with exhaustion from board meetings and expectations. I'd meet her at her penthouse, where the lights of Manhattan spilled across the floor like broken glass. She'd ask me to hold her hand when she was too afraid to admit she needed it. But she never let me forget the deal. I was the stand-in, the secret, the boy-shaped shadow she could hide behind. And God, it was killing me. Because the truth was, I didn't want to be her act. I wanted to be her truth. One night, after a gala where she had paraded me around as Andrew, her fabricated companion, we stumbled into her penthouse half-drunk on champagne and half-suffocated by pretense. "You were perfect tonight," she whispered, collapsing onto the velvet couch, her dress shimmering under the dim lights. "Perfect at what?" I snapped before I could stop myself. "Perfect at lying for you? Perfect at pretending to be something I'm not so you can keep hiding." Her eyes widened, glassy with a hurt I hadn't expected. "You think this is easy for me?" she hissed. "You think I like needing someone like you two?" She broke off, biting her lip so hard it bled. "You don't understand the pressure, the eyes on me, the weight of every headline waiting to tear me apart." I was shaking, fury and heartbreak boiling inside me. "And what about me, Alex? What about the fact that every time you kiss me, I'm the one who has to pretend it doesn't mean something?" The room went silent. My words hung between us like a noose. For a moment I thought she'd throw me out. Instead she whispered, almost broken, "Then don't pretend." The world stopped at those 3 words. "Then don't pretend." Her voice was fragile, almost drowned in the hum of the city lights outside. For the first time since I met her, Alexandra Monroe didn't look like the untouchable millionaire everyone adored. She looked like a girl terrified of being unloved. I swallowed hard, the air too heavy in my chest. "Alex," I whispered, but my throat closed around the rest. She leaned forward, her hands trembling as they reached for mine. When her fingers brushed my knuckles, something inside me shattered. All the walls I had built, all the pretending, all the rules I had set for myself, it all dissolved in her touch. And I kissed her. Not because she asked, not because I was pretending, but because I wanted her. Desperately. The kiss wasn't polished or careful this time. It was messy, aching, filled with every ounce of longing I had buried. She gasped against my lips, her body pulling me closer as if she had been waiting her whole life for this one reckless moment. But life isn't kind to reckless lovers. The next morning the tabloids caught us. A grainy photo from the gala showed her holding my hand too tenderly, eyes fixed on me instead of the cameras. Rumors exploded. Monroe's mystery man. Secret engagement. Her PR team went into overdrive, spinning lies faster than either of us could breathe. And me? I wasn't even in the picture. To the world, I was just her made-up boyfriend. A shadow with no name. That week she didn't call. My phone sat silent on the nightstand, each second stretching into an eternity. I told myself she was busy, but deep down, I knew she was retreating, building her walls back up. By the 7th day I broke. I marched to her penthouse, my hands shaking, my chest hollow. When she opened the door, she looked different. Paler. Harder. "You shouldn't be here," she said flatly. "Why?" My voice cracked. "Because someone might find out you kissed a woman instead of the perfect boyfriend they invented for you." Her eyes darted away, her silence screaming louder than words. I stepped closer, my heart pounding. "I can't do this anymore, Alex. I can't keep being your disguise. I love you. And if that's something you can't stand by, then let me go." Her lips parted, but no sound came. For the first time I saw the fear she carried, not of loving me, but of losing everything else. So I turned and left, the city swallowing me whole. Weeks passed. The silence between us grew into a canyon. I went back to waiting tables, pretending my chest didn't ache every time I heard her name on the news. She attended charity galas with other people on her arm, smiling that perfect smile I knew was fake. And then one night, just as I was locking up the diner, a sleek black car pulled up to the curb. The back door opened and she stepped out. She was barefoot, in a silk dress wrinkled from hours of wear. Her hair a tangled mess. Her eyes swollen from crying. "Alex," I started, but she cut me off by falling into my arms. "I can't do it," she sobbed, clinging to me like I was the only thing keeping her alive. "I can't live another day pretending you're not the one I want." The world around us disappeared. It didn't matter that the streets smelled like grease and rain. It didn't matter that my apron still reeked of coffee. She kissed me right there under the broken diner sign, and for the first time neither of us was pretending. Of course, love doesn't erase reality. Coming out wasn't easy. The media tore into her, branding her reckless, scandalous, dangerous to her own empire. Investors threatened to pull out. Friends she had known for years suddenly vanished. But she didn't let go of my hand. Not once. "I spent years building a life everyone else wanted for me," she told me one night, curled up on my tiny couch in Brooklyn, her head resting against my chest. "But for the first time, I'm living a life I actually want. And that's you. And me?" I finally understood that love isn't about safety. It isn't about playing roles or hiding truths. It's about standing in the fire with someone and saying, "I choose you anyway." A year later, we returned to that same rooftop terrace in Manhattan where it all began. The city lights still burned bright, but this time we weren't hiding in the shadows. She held my face between her hands, eyes soft and certain. "I used to think love was a weakness," she whispered. "But with you, it's the only strength I'll ever need." I smiled, tears stinging my eyes as I kissed her. No disguises. No secrets. Just two women who had fought their way through fire and found home in each other. And for the first time, I didn't laugh at the absurdity of it all. I didn't flinch from the weight of it. Because when Alexandra Monroe asked me to pretend to be a man and kiss her, I thought I was stepping into someone else's story. But it turns out I was stepping into my own. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.